This bites. Your commercial's stupid, you're a no-talent hack, and your donuts are stale. I'm out of here. Fast, fast, fast.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes. It's a special day in Batman. We got the final issue of James Tynion Batman, the finale of Fear State. So we're going to do one video on that, what the future we think of Batman is after that. And then later tonight, we'll have another Batman video for This Week in Batman where we talk about the other comic books coming out. But obviously, these things are all small potatoes in comparison to Batman number 117, the Fear State finale. And here to talk with me about that is the man behind PopMyCulture.com, as well as contributor to BatmanNews.com. How you doing, Josh McDonald?
I'm doing well. I mean, we had Batman comics this week. I guess you know, they had Batman. I don't want to say they were good. Are we sure everything was small potatoes compared to this? Because I was not impressed.
Well, I mean, it's a big deal. It's the end of a big event. It was a big crossover.
I know what you meant. I was just
James Tynion's supposed to be a big deal, but no, I'm with you. I'm glad he's gone because this thing was
Dude,
fucking hot garbage, man. This was really bad. It was the most limp dick ending you could imagine for a Batman story.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I'm not gonna lie. It's it's like this story just took forever to go anywhere, and then you got like maybe one issue of story.
Yeah, nothing even happens. And you open up the book, and of course, it's New Comic Book Day. Batman 117 sitting there. Which one are you going to read first, that one or Nightwing?
You're going to read Batman. Yes, this is what I was going to talk about. You're going to read Batman 117 first. It makes the most sense.
So I opened up Batman 117. I was like, Nakano's not in the sewer anymore? What the hell is this? And then all of a sudden, it's like all the Robins show up in Peacekeeper robot uniforms.
Yep.
The hell did I just miss?
Same. I was trying to figure out when this happened and how it happened, and I was just like, all right. This whole thing has been a mess that I wasn't surprised. But yeah, it would have been nice if there would have been like an editor's note at the beginning to read Nightwing first.
Or a checklist.
Oh, well, that too.
I never saw one of those. But
I think they had one at the very beginning, but never recirculated it.
So I opened this thing up. I'm terribly confused. There's so many things that James Tynion's been doing on his Batman run. Just God bless Jorge Jimenez for taking this pile of garbage and making it look good. But you know, it's Batman is never wins.
No,
you know, everything is just completely it's decompressed and nothing really makes sense. And so who wins in this one? Who saves the day? Poison Ivy connects with all the good parts of her soul and decides, I don't want to destroy Gotham with earthquakes. I want to release pheromones to make everybody happy and less fearful, and saves the city. And then Mighty Molly, Miracle Molly, Magic Molly, whatever that character is, ends up disarming the trauma bomb. One of the worst names I've ever heard in a comic book. To actually do the other half of the saving of the city. And Batman is just, you know, he's just along for the ride in his own fucking comic book again.
He's just there as usual. Yeah, there's so many inconsistencies within this story, and it's just like, I don't even know. Even when you look at where we left off, like we left off with Miracle Molly being, you know, thinking she couldn't stop this trauma bomb. That's what we should call this arc, is the trauma bomb. And then this one, she's like, no, I got it. We're going to do this, and I'm going to invert it to make it do this, and booyah. So it was bad.
It was so bad. It was hard to get my mind to talk about later in the day.
Yeah.
They defeat Simon St. there. And then they defeat him in this comic book too. Seemingly in a different setting.
Yep. And they both play out differently.
Yes.
Yeah. DC needs to get their crap together. I mean, honestly, this is a joke.
It's embarrassing.
It's really embarrassing.
So I was not a fan of Fear State for the most part. And just as far as this comic book goes, the art's fantastic. Everything else sucks ass. I'll give it a 1.5 just based on the art itself. What is unsatisfying ending? That's all I can say.
Yeah. I mean, and even characters that were supposed to be main characters, they were just plot devices and nothing else. Poison Ivy, plot device. The Gardener, plot device. We kept putting a focus on Ghostmaker. Why? Like, nothing played out.
Ghostmaker was used literally to provide exposition on a plan that was hatched 20 years earlier.
Pretty much.
Why didn't they just discover his diary? When he talked about it in his diary, you know what I mean? It would have been just as effective.
It would have been just as effective. For some reason, we had to make him a hero, though. I don't know why.
Yeah, and the characterization's all over the place as far as Mikado. Was he part of it? You know, was he actually a good guy? Was he being manipulated? Is he stuck in a sewer somewhere? But apparently he's been, you know, he's escaped and he's mad at Simon Saint. Who's the bad guy? Is it Scarecrow? Is it Simon Saint? Is it the under whatever collective?
Is it Peacekeeper or Peacemaker? Peacekeeper. Jesus. I can get my characters mixed up now. You know, I think we can just definitively say this is the definition of a clusterfuck.
Yeah, and it ends up, you know, this big crossover event that's leading right into another Batman crossover event, Shadows of the Bat, coming up in Detective Comics. They're clearly running out of ideas. I hated this event. I don't think there's anything redeeming about it other than the art.
Agreed.
With that out of the way, where does Batman go from here? James Tynion's obviously, he's officially left the book, but it feels like he checked out at least 5 or 6 issues earlier than this.
Yeah, I would argue he hasn't really been doing great work to begin with, but you can definitely tell he checked out. My question, do we not have the Fear State Omega left still coming out? Isn't there a like tie-up issue, or
is it really going to be a tie-up issue? It'll be like Alpha, where it's just restating the stuff that you supposedly already read.
Probably there'll be one new thing. Maybe they'll explain why Jace Fox is with the Bat family at the end, even though they don't know each other. It was a mess.
With you, man.
Where do we go from here? I mean, who freaking knows? Like, you're left.
We
with
know
a
Joshua
mess.
Williamson's coming on for what appears to be a short run to once again rehash a story we've already read, or at least a mystery involving a Batman Incorporated.
Yep. I mean, you got Mariko Tamaki's story that she's going to do, which will be the weekly stories. Then Joshua Williamson. I don't know what their plans are. I really don't. I would have told you that they're going to set Jace up to take Gotham, but we now know he's not taking Gotham. He's going to New York. So we're going to
talk about that more in depth later today.
Cool.
I don't know who's the next Batman writer. Who do you want? If I'm DC Comics, and what has happened with James Tynion leaving Batman abruptly, with what's happened with Jonathan Hickman kind of leaving X-Men abruptly, with what happened with Nick Spencer leaving Spider-Man abruptly, I'm looking for someone that's young, that's relatively cheap, talented, that maybe I can lock in for some time. The writer I'm looking at is Ram V.
100% agreed. Like and they need to be quick and careful with this because he's already got his hands into the Substack scenario a little bit, and he's leaning into Marvel. So, you know, if DC holds their writers that they consider quality precious to them, they need to do something to lock him in.
Yeah, so that's me personally, that's the writer I would go after. He's also worked with a ton of really good artists as well. What Batman story do you want after this? I would rather I would like it whenever he returns to Gotham, because obviously Bruce Wayne's going to return to Gotham sometime. Is it going to be before the next crisis or after? I don't know.
I don't know.
Gotham is kind of chilled out.
Yeah,
you know, the people are on edge, but they're, you know, no one's looking to take over the city for a while. And Batman just solves some crimes. Maybe reconnects with his son.
Agreed. I think they need to go back to basics. So they need to go back to square one, redefine their characters and their purpose, get back to the roots of who these characters are and what they do, and go that direction. I'm not going to lie. When I was reading this issue and Miracle Molly's holding the device, being like she's going to wipe everyone's like fear away, I was like, do it, please. Just do it. It'll give us somewhere to start. But
fresh start.
I knew they wouldn't. Yeah. But yeah, they just need to, you know, wipe the slate clean and start over.
Yeah, they just return to basics. I thought that was supposedly the reasoning behind taking Bruce's money away, so he wouldn't have to rely on gadgets and everything, and he could return kind of to more of a basic idea of what Batman is. But that is clearly not what happened.
Oh no, I mean they took his money away and set it up like he was gonna have to go from like a actual street level person, and then they kind of threw him in this like Batman Beyond type world. It was absurd.
Yeah, it just kind of devolved into this weird cyberpunk thing, and where Batman's plugging his cowl into Miracle Molly's temple so she can see that the pheromones released by Poison Ivy have, released the fear in Gotham State Gotham City is in a good state now, so she doesn't have to destroy everybody's minds.
Oh yeah, those kudos to those news anchors because they got all that info from Sane Industries and were reporting on it in a matter of like 30 seconds. This whole thing was crap.
Kudos to Jorge Jimenez because he made that look cool.
Oh, he did. The having Miracle Molly there and the red screen backgrounds. That
with her eyes glowing.
Yep, it was a beautiful image. It was a terrible plot.
I don't think Joshua Williamson's going to be the Batman writer. His plate is far too full. He's got that Justice League Incarnate. He's certainly leading up to the next crisis. My feeling is since he's doing that, he will probably be the architect of the next crisis. He's also got quite a few other books that he's working on. So if we think about James Tynion's run on Batman, it started out on issue number 85. Was it 86? 86. He runs through issue 117, two big events, essentially the same event twice. Once with Joker, once with the Magistrate. Before that, he had a pretty substantial run on Detective Comics, a far more substantial run that he ended up having on Batman.
Yep.
What do you think his legacy is with the Batman character and the Bat family?
I would have said it would have been just creating new characters, but at this point, nothing's really come out of those characters, and I don't foresee any writers taking them forward in a meaningful way. So I don't think he's going to have much of a legacy.
So you don't think Punchline has legs as the new villainous Harley Quinn?
Yeah, I don't think Punchline really has legs. I think within 5 to 10 years, she's going to kind of be an afterthought. She's the one character that I would have expected to carry on, but they haven't really done anything meaningful with her. And then having Sam Johns lead that character just kind of dug its grave.
Yeah, that backup story in Joker has been absolutely atrocious. Obviously, Tynion is going to move forward with Joker. Detective Comics, if you like Tim Drake, it felt like, that was the last real Tim Drake-centric story you're probably going to get. I personally didn't like that run. It was also very decompressed. I hate the idea of time travel within a Batman story. It doesn't make sense with the character.
It's a shame, too, because when you go back to Rebirth and you look at that run, his first arc, that first 6 issues was excellent. And then after that, it just went downhill quick. Same here, honestly. Like he always goes on a downslope, and it goes relatively quickly. If there's anything he might be remembered for as being quality work, Justice League Dark, but I don't think many people read it.
I love Justice League Dark.
Yeah. Until
they did that Wonder Woman crossover.
Oh, yeah.
And it really just sidetracked it.
It did. It started off strong and then just went downhill quickly. Hey,
Upside Down Man, like the introduction of that character, he looks so terrifying.
Oh, yeah. It was a creepy character, cool concept. There was definitely a lot of potential there. I just don't think they ever fulfilled it. And maybe that is going to be Tynion's legacy, is that he doesn't finish. Like, he can't finish strong. He starts off, has ideas, but cannot execute.
He's the less offensive Tom King, right?
Sure.
Another writer that cannot stick a landing.
Yeah, very much. You're pretty true, and does less egregious things in the process.
Yeah, so I do wish him good luck. I'm glad that he's gone. Obviously, he's going to continue working on Joker, but I think his Batman run is lackluster. I don't think really anything stands the test of time. There's a couple of cool concepts that I think have potential within the hands of other people to really work with them. I think the Underbroker is probably the coolest character he introduced.
Agreed.
And used the character the least amount. It kind of has that, what's the Continental vibe from John Wick, where you got this guy kind of pulling the strings for all the villains in the city. I like the concept of that. So I would like someone to use that in the future.
Oh, agreed. If I were to step in and write, that's probably the character I'd pull out of his. My concern is a lot of writers, because they're wanting to go so big and so drastic, they tend to look at someone like that and think, oh, that character's boring. But I disagree.
Yeah, that's a potential gold mine to really to use in the future. But I do think there are going to be some wrong lessons learned from James Tynion's run. He certainly received more praise and accolades than he deserved, in my opinion, based on the quality of the writing, because he was following up such an atrocious train wreck of a Batman run that everyone was ready to be over. Like, you know, Tom King kind of willed that into existence. He turned fans away. So I think when people got back on board, they were just so happy it wasn't Tom King, that they overpraised the book. And you know, he got two big events. They both kind of played out the same. It's the same kind of story, very decompressed. So. Batman doesn't win, and I guess that's the way it goes. You know what I mean?
That is the way it goes. I think sometimes people always want to hold on to hope, but you know, we saw it with Tom King. You had a lot of red flags very early on, but people held on until it was like, yeah, this isn't getting better. And I think people finally reached that point with Tynion. But yeah, his first arc, agreed. It was a refreshing, like, return to traditional type Batman stories. It was fun, and then after that, it's just been a mess.
Yeah, so I like I said, it's getting back to the wrong lessons learned. I think people are going to think the way that you sell a Batman book is by introducing new characters, variations of existing characters, get the word out there that there's going to be new first appearances, bump up the interest as far as the speculators market. And, you know, that's the way to sell a Batman book. And I don't think you need to do that with a character like Batman. There's a flagship of the comic industry for a reason. He sells stories based on the character alone. If you make a story that's true to the character, that explores the city of Gotham or circumstances around Batman, where he's doing investigation, and you know, it's exciting, I think people will come back. And they'll come back in droves. You don't need to use the gimmicks.
No, not at all. They're going to, which is a shame, but no, you don't need to.
I say James Tynion's Batman run ends like it began, limp-dicked, you know, and full of promise with no, you know, no fulfillment as far as what it could have been.
Not at all. Not at all.
And Josh, I'll let you have the last word. Obviously, you know, you've been reporting on this and reading all the issues as well.
Yeah, I mean, from my stance, I think we've gone, you know, big story. Everything's been so grand. Like I said, I just hope we see a return to what matters and just, you know, rebuild the foundation. I think if the people at DC are smart, that's what they're going to do. That's what I hope they do. So, you know, fingers crossed, but I'm not holding my breath.
Thank you very much, Josh. And we'll be later on, back here later on tonight to talk about Nightwing, Batman leaving Gotham, and a few other comic books, Batman versus Bigby, as well as Robin's #1.
It'll be a conversation.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.